What's up, Foundation? What's up, YouTube? Man, it's me, your big partner, Cartoon 5-3, back again. Man, listen. Some of my earlier videos, I kind of got in touch with my nerd side. See, a lot of people don't know that I'm what you call a gangster nerd. A gangster nerd. A gangster nerd. Now, for those who don't know, a gangster nerd is a term for someone who's straight up gangster, because I'm straight up gangster. But I got a nerdy side. I got a side where, you know what I'm saying, I get in touch with my nerdy side. I like to play Dungeons and Dragons. Now, a lot of people, now you ain't gonna find too many black people, especially that come out the hood, come out the ghetto, come out the set, like me, who like to play a game like that. Most brothers gonna look at that as, man, that's that white boy stuff, man. We don't get down like that. That's that white boy stuff. Hey, to each his own. If it's considered a white boy game to some, then that's what it's considered. To me, I used to think the same way. I used to look at it the same way. Man, that's a white boy game, man. I don't play that crazy white boy stuff. That was when I'd heard about it. But now, the first time I seen it, oh, I was hooked. Cause see, now I was talking that's a white boy game, but on the low, I wanted to, check it out. Cause I've always been into, what you call, science fiction and fantasy. I've always been into fantasy. I was a little kid, about 1975, 76, somewhere around there. I messed around and read that book, Lord of the Rings. Now, was it Lord of the Rings? Yeah. That's what it was. J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings. I read that book, man. I was supposed to have been on punishment and snuck out the house and went to the library and got the book. The book caught my attention because it had a dragon on the cover of it. I'm like, picked it up, looked at it like, dang. So I sat down at the table in the library and just started reading a little bit of it. Now, I was already into collecting comic books. See, gangster nerd. I've been collecting comic books for years. You know what I'm saying? Since the early 70s, since I was able to really learn how to read. I learned that from my cousin, my same cousin who put in my head when I was a child that when I got older that I was going to be a Crip. He collected comic books. I got my Cripping from him, but I also got my nerdyism, I believe, from him because he got me involved with them comic books and I was hooked from a child on up. So, I was always into that. Now, I got into D&D. Now, for those who don't know, people who know the Dungeons and Dragons, some abbreviated used to say D&D. I got into that as when I first went to Hawaii. I told y'all the story. You have to go back in some of my old videos, and I gave y'all the story on how when I was in Hawaii, I was in OH clothes, and this was early 1980. Early 1980, and we was out there throwing the football. And the football went over there by the white boys that was sitting at the table playing D&D. Now, I told you about how I used to see them out there all the time. Didn't know what they was doing. Didn't even trip. The ball went over there the first time when I went to go get the ball. When I was walking away, I heard them saying something about a dragon and an elf. And it caught my attention because that was right. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Dragons and elf. I was into that because those were the books I read when I was younger. So I kind of looked, but now, okay, I went on about my business. Ball went over again. When I went over there to get it the second time, they over there rolling dice. And I heard one dude say he cast a spell and on a sword. And I'm like, what? That's my get down. So I told you about how I asked them what they was doing. They say they playing D&D and da-da-da-da-da. And I asked them, could I get out? So they was like, yeah, boom. So I threw the ball back to the homies, turned around, went and sat down with them. Now, they asked me, man, your people going woo, 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 woo. I'm like, man, I ain't tripping, man, I'm woo. So I sat down, I told y'all about how the homies was like, man, what you doing, man? What you got? I was, man, I'm all right, I'm cool, boom. So now here I am. I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. Man, I was enthralled. I'm like, oh, man. I'm talking about here it is, a game. You got dragons, magical swords. You got wizards, elves. You got kingdoms. You got flying this, flying that, biting this, biting that, snapping this, snapping that. You got all this crazy stuff, man, that I on the low was really, really into. Was really into that, man. And I'm really into it right today. You know what I'm saying? I done played D&D online. I done been to Gen Con conventions. All that, man. You know what I'm saying? Behind that D&D. You know, I learned what character sheets and all that. I'm like, man, this is up, man. Now, I caught a lot of flack. Y'all, behind indulging in my nerdier side of myself. Because, I was hooked. I wanted to play it. And a lot of people don't know, man, D&D is a mother, man. It's an MF. Because you can get so caught up. You got to have a real good imagination for this game. And you can really, really, really get caught up in this game. I'm talking about mentally, man, to where you got to, back up like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Now, like in the prison I was in Alabama, now I remember one time I had made it to what they call the Faith Dorm. The Faith Dorm is like really like an honor dorm, and you can go in there if you're doing, you got a clear record and you're doing the right thing, and this and that. Back in the day, people used to say that's what it was, a catch-out dorm. Catch-out mean the PC dorm. But now, you had some dudes in there, man, that, stomp down killers too. But they in there just, easing on through on with the easy life. I had made it up in there one time, and I told y'all about the white dude was my partner, man. Dude named Jimmy Click. They called him Grip. I did a video. Y'all, some of y'all seen the video when I told you he was like one of the only friends that I'd ever put that term on in prison. Jimmy Click, he was a nerd, and another little white dude named Mike Betts, called him Little Mike. These were the dudes I told you. I said me, Mike, and Grip, we wrote a book together. We wrote a short story in a fantasy thing, in a science fiction and fantasy magazine. They had contests where you could write short stories, get paid for them if they pick them up. And, we wrote a short story. It's out there somewhere. It was called The Obsidian Citadel, about some dark elves. But anyway, we used to want to play D&D. Come to find out that they was both into it on the streets, and you couldn't play D&D in the Faith Dorm. And, it was like a Christian dorm. It was what they call faith-based. You know what I'm saying? You had the Muslims, you had the Christians, but really it was a Christian dorm. But you couldn't play them type games in that dorm because the chaplain and the pastor and all that or the prison, they said D&D was evil game. It was from the devil. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, evil game from the devil? And they said, man, people can get so caught up in their roles to where they'll, mentally they'll lose themselves. And, of course, man, we all were like, man, y'all tripping, man. You tripping, man. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Ain't nothing like that, man. What you talking about? So, boom. But they wouldn't let us play. But now in other dorms, in other blocks, we was able to play it. And, I would play it all the time. In fact, I used to play it a whole lot all through my Y state. I was a dungeon master. I made it all the way to where I ran a pretty good game. For those who don't know, a DM, I was a DM. That means that's short for dungeon master. A dungeon master is the dude, he runs the game. He quarterbacks the game. Now you might have 4 or 5 players, that's in the game, that's different characters. And then me, I sit behind a little small partition. I used to sit the folder up so you can roll your dice and, look at certain type rolls and have your monster manual, your monster sheet and all this old stuff. What you going to pick from right here in back of you. Then on this side, the whole table, you might have your dungeon, your display of your dungeon, or you might have your display of a map of the land. And the people sitting around the table, they put their little pieces on there and they show and you play the game. But now, years later, I thought about it. I could kind of see where certain people might think that a devil game or a mind altering game, because if you can get caught up in Dungeons and Dragons to the point where it is mind altering, you really, I'm talking about, man, you would get up in the morning and start playing at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and you would play completely, totally all throughout the day till lockdown at night. You know what I'm saying? Till they got to make you lock down. You don't want to quit. You ain't really worried about nothing to eat, something to drink or whatever. Y'all playing. And you really get caught up in this, man. Really get caught up in this. To the point to where I had got caught up in it like that one time. This was years ago, back when I was in Hawaii. You got to look at it. Here it is. You start out as a lowly, level 1 character. Now you got to do certain things. You got to kill and fight certain monsters and, go on certain missions, and you got to do all this and accumulate, wealth and weapons and skill points and all this sort of stuff to move up to another level. And you move up to level 2, level 3, level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you move on up. The more levels you move up, the powerful your character gets. The more stuff you got, the more badder you are. You got different character classes. You got good, evil, chaotic, neutral, chaotic evil. Now the evilest one is chaotic evil. The best one is, was it neutral good or chaotic? No, I think it was neutral good. Might be one better than that. But now, if you wanted to be what was called a paladin is like a white knight. He goes through he has abilities to detect evil. He has the abilities, certain type swords that can fight against evil. He can kill evil characters and stuff like that. And he good. He go throughout the land just looking for evil and fighting it. All the way good. Now the worst one you can be is what's called chaotic evil. That means you the devil himself. You just bad. You can't, man, listen, if you going through a dungeon and you got like 4, 5 people that's in the game with you, and you choose, because you roll the dice to choose your character. Now here it is. You choose to be chaotic evil. Nobody in the game is going to trust you. Nobody in the game is going to trust you, because you are subject and apt to do anything at any time. We might be walking down the dungeon hallway trying to protect each other, and you in the back, you might out of nowhere just pull your sword off and chop one of the people head off that you in the game with. Now, of course, with you attacking from the back, that means you have a higher percentage of getting a direct strike, because they saving throw is going to be so high that you might just go ahead and hit them. Because now here it is, you already got in your mind, if I kill this cat, I'm going to get, you're going to get the hit experience points. You're going to get, the hit points. You're going to get the stuff that they have with them and all this old stuff to try to move up. So, people, they spending too much time trying to watch you. They pretty much going to try to get you to go, man, hey, now you go through the game on your own. But you have different, you got, that's the worst of the worst. Good of the good is in the mid. You got different levels. You got chaotic neutral. You have neutral, where you just a regular person. You gonna do whatever you feel at that time needs to be done. If something bad needs to be done, then you gonna do it at that time. If something good needs to be done at that time, then you gonna do it. That's neutral. Then, like I say, you got neutral good. You got lawful evil, lawful good. Like I say, chaotic, evil, chaotic, oh man, you just got a lot of different booms. The ones in the middle really don't make a real big difference. It's just the ones all the way at the one end of the spectrum. All the way bad or all the way good. Now, in a game like this, if you all the way good, you can't go through the game with a person that's all the way bad. You're going to attack them. Y'all going to get into it. Y'all going to get it. So the DM, if he's a good DM, he going to be able to coordinate a game like that. Cause I used to give a lot of dungeon masters problems, because I would pick to be chaotic evil sometimes. Well, a lot of times. And it made it head, because he would have to split the games up at first. Well, Toon, you can't go through the game with these 3 because of your alignment. It's called your alignment. And so, He would have to, do them, do me, do them, do me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times he'd run it in to where we meet each other and we gonna kill each other off one way or another. So he ain't got to keep going through that. But now here it is. Let's say, man, here you done spent 6, 7, 8 months building your character sheet up to the point to where you might be a 12th level, whatever, a 13th, 14th level, whatever, trying to get to 20th level and beyond. And you get into it with somebody. A lot of times you'll get into it with somebody that's in the game with you, which is something I used to do a lot. I was an antagonist. I would bully the other people in the game with me. Like, okay, if I knew I can whoop your character, I'm like, all right, now better shut your mouth. And I pop off, do this, do that. Knowing boom, I kill their character off. They have to start all over again and work themselves back up. This is what happened to me one day. I was in YTS, matter of fact, playing. And no, it wasn't. I was still in OH clothes years before that. Still in OH clothes. This was about I say the year it rolled over into, I think, about 1981. And I'm playing in the game. Now it was one white dude at the table that me and him used to get into it a lot. We would always get into it. If I can remember, I've always been into the magic. I always liked the magic, but I didn't want to be all the way magic user because they're physically weak. Now they are what they call arcane spells can, tally up to be strong in the end, but their physical ability is real weak. So I didn't want to be real weak like that. So I used to mix the character called MFU. I used to always say a mother but an MFU is what you call a magic fighter user. It's like crossing Conan the Barbarian with Merlin the Magician. You know what I'm saying? So here it is. You got a fighter, a gladiator that can do magic. So I would always try to get those type characters. Boom. And I had a magic fighter user, man, and he was up in the ranks. He was good. He do his thing. But I would always get into it with this one dude. And we got into it one day, and he was, if I'm not mistaken, an elven druid. Now, no. He was an elven cleric. He wasn't a druid. He was a druid. He was a druid. A druid is like a wizard that uses nature. You know what I'm saying? He's real proficient with using magical spells that has to do with the land, nature, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, like an elemental or stuff. But he's pretty good though. And he was a higher level than me, but I wasn't studying him. I was confrontational, wild. And make a long story short, me and him got into it one day. We got into it one day. And the DM got so tired of trying to, run the game with me and him bickering and backering at the table that he stopped the game. He said, "Oh, stop the game." Now, I've seen this done before. He said, "I'm stopping the game right now. I'm calling automatic arena fight." Now, calling an automatic arena fight is, okay, everybody get to the side. It's like we finna catch the fair one. We finna catch the head up fade, me and him, for all our grits and gravy right here. Because the DM is tired of going through this shenanigans with us. So he said, "I'm calling right now arena fight." What you do, he put us in an area. Bang. Now, I have everything on my character sheet at my disposal, saying I have all my abilities. Everything I have, I can use. Everything he has, we can use. Now, sometimes he might put you in an arena. Sometimes he might put you in a desert. Sometimes he might put you in a jungle. Sometimes he might put you on a boat in the water, whatever. In this one, he put us in a jungle. And he put me on one end, him on the other end. And we knew we had to go through the jungle and find each other. So, you gotta use your stealth. You know what I'm saying? Anything at your repertoire. So, boom. And he told us, man, this is a fight to the death. One of y'all finna lead the game. Whoever loses got to lead a game, and you won't be able to come back for 2 weeks because I'm not finna keep going through this. So we both agreed, like, all right, well, cool, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. In my mind, I was pretty sure I was going to mop him. I was going to get him. So here it is. We went at it. Boom, 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 boom. Now, a lot of times I would want to say certain stuff, or he would want to say certain stuff that you don't want your opponent to hear. So you would write it down on a piece of paper, bang, and hand it to the DM, the dungeon master. So back itch. I'm too big. My arms don't go back there. Anyway, so you would hand it to the dungeon master and let him know. You might be saying, okay, look, you might have peeped where he is, and you might want to throw, you might want to call down if, you might want to call down a storm, lightning bolts on that certain area. But you don't want to say it outright because now old boy can hear you at the table. Now he know what's finna come. So now he's developing what you call counter spells, this, and this. Okay, cool. So we going at it. We going at it. Oh boy whooped me. And right before he was getting ready to kill me, I said, man, don't kill my character, man. I said, I'll get out the way. Don't kill my character. And the white dude told me, he said, no. He said, You know what I'm saying? He just kept saying, he just kept shaking, saying, And I'm telling him across the table. I'm like, man, don't kill me, man. He killed me. I was hurt to my soul. Man, you really get caught up to the point where you really feel this. Man, when he did what's called the coup de grace, that means that's the death stroke. Bang! He burnt me. He burnt my whole body, skeleton and all, to ashes. Hit me with all type of fireballs and, you know what I'm saying, all type of stuff, and burnt my whole thing out of existence. Listen, man, when the DM reached over the table, he told me, Toon, give me your character sheet. Man, Toon, give me your character sheet. I didn't want to give it to him. He reached over the thing. He got my character sheet and he just shredded it, ripped it in half in my face. Man, I was so mentally and hurt that I rushed the dude. Man, I just jumped up and went to getting off on him. Boom, 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 boom. Just went to getting off on it. Man, end up, they had to break the fight. The police had to come. They had to break the fight up, get me up off of them. They ended up locking me up, sending me to the hole. I did how much time I did over there. Then when I come back, dudes didn't want to let me back in the game. They said I was too emotional, say I can't handle it, this, that, and the other. But eventually they let me back in, but I had to calm down. But that's how invested that I had gotten to the game. That's just how deep I had got into that crazy game, man. And you got people on the street that play it religiously, grown people. I ain't talking about no kids, grown people. You got conventions. You got where you can go online and put your character sheet up and play people all around the world online for money. That's how deep, people get into this thing. So it is what it is, man. So I can understand. It's man, you'll trip out, man. You'll be sitting at the table and you'll be talking when it's your turn to do a move. You'll go to talking in the voice of the character that you playing. Like if you a barbarian, or let's say you a wizard, you go to talking in different funny little styles of talking, and everybody respect it, man, because it is what it is. But yeah, man, that was one of my adventures into my nerdier side of my gangsterism, man. It is what it is. Like I tell y'all all the time, I'm transparent, man. I'm gonna tell y'all about me, And I still like to play that game right to this day. I watch it on TV. I watch the movies. Every now and then I try to get online and play a little bit if I got time. But anyway, man, that's me, your big partner, man, Cartoon 53. Man, I just decided, man, I'll just let y'all know about when I have a little fight over Dungeons and Dragons, man. Okay, peace. I'm out.